The fall of Rome wasn't a single event. It was a death by 1,000 cuts, a slow bleed that lasted over a millennium. For 1,200 years, the world watched as the greatest empire ever known slowly crumbled, but its ghost has haunted us ever since. Our story begins not with fire and brimstone, but with a simple, desperate decision in the late 3rd century. The Roman Empire was just too big, too unwieldy, a beast impossible for one man to tame. Emperor Diocletian saw the cracks forming, the endless borders under attack, the economy sputtering. His solution? He split the empire in two. A Western Roman Empire with its heart in Rome, and an Eastern Roman Empire, ruled from a new, magnificent city, Constantinople. It was meant to save Rome, but instead, its death warrant. The West was immediately on the back foot. It had the history, the name, but the East had the money. Constantinople sat at the crossroads of the world, controlling the rich trade routes to Asia. The West, meanwhile, was agriculturally based, its lands exhausted, its people poor, and then came the migrations. Tribes from the north and east, pushed by climate change and conflict, began pouring across the borders. The Goths, the Vandals, the Huns, they weren't just invaders. They were people looking for a home, and they saw a weak, fractured West ripe for the taking. Rome tried to fight back. It hired barbarian mercenaries to defend its borders against other barbarians. It raised taxes on its already starving citizens to fund a failing military. The political system was a mess of corruption and civil war. Emperors were assassinated as quickly as they were crowned. In 410 AD, the unthinkable happened. The Visigoths sacked the city of Rome. For the first time in 800 years, the eternal city had fallen. The psychological shock was immense. If Rome could fall, what was safe? But the final blow was quieter, almost pathetic. In 476 AD, a Germanic chieftain named Odoacer deposed the last Western Roman emperor. His name was Romulus Augustulus, a young boy, a puppet emperor whose name ironically echoed the founder of Rome and its first emperor. Odoacer didn't even bother to take the title of emperor. He just sent the imperial regalia, the symbols of power, to the emperor in Constantinople, basically saying, "We're done here. You can have this back." And just like that, the Western Roman Empire was gone. But what happened to the other half? If you're enjoying this deep dive into history's greatest empires, make sure to subscribe for more hidden history. While the West collapsed into a chaotic patchwork of barbarian kingdoms, the Eastern Roman Empire didn't just survive, it thrived. We call it the Byzantine Empire today, but they never called themselves that. To them, they were simply Romans, the true inheritors of the empire. Constantinople became the largest and wealthiest city in Europe, a shining beacon of civilization while the West plunged into the so-called Dark Ages. The Byzantine Emperor Justinian the Great, ruling in the 6th century, even dreamed of reuniting the empire. His brilliant general Belisarius reconquered North Africa, Italy, and parts of Spain. For a fleeting moment, the Mediterranean was a Roman lake once more. Justinian also gave the world one of its most important legal legacies, the Corpus Juris Civilis, a codification of Roman law that forms the basis of the legal systems for many countries even today. Go into a courtroom in France or Germany, and you're standing in the long shadow of Justinian. But the Byzantines were fighting a multi-front war for their entire existence. They faced the Persian Sassanid Empire to the east, constant threats from Slavic tribes and Bulgars in the Balkans, and then a new, powerful force erupted from the Arabian Peninsula: Islam. The Arab conquests in the 7th century were incredibly swift. They took Egypt, Syria, and North Africa, the richest provinces of the Byzantine Empire. Constantinople itself was besieged multiple times, saved only by its massive walls and a secret weapon: Greek fire, a mysterious incendiary substance that could burn on water. For centuries, the Byzantine Empire acted as a shield for Europe, holding back waves of Eastern invaders. It preserved the ancient knowledge of Greece and Rome philosophy, science, literature in its great libraries and monasteries, while much of it was lost in the West. But the centuries of constant warfare took their toll. The empire shrank, its economy weakened, and then came a betrayal from its own Christian brethren. In 1204, the Knights of the Fourth Crusade, originally meant to fight in the Holy Land, were diverted. Lured by the promise of immense wealth, they turned their swords not on Muslims, but on the Christian city of Constantinople. They sacked the city with a brutality that shocked the world, burning libraries, desecrating churches, and stealing priceless relics. It was a wound from which the Byzantine Empire would never truly recover. Although the Byzantines recaptured their capital 57 years later, the empire was a hollow shell of its former self, a small, weak state surrounded by enemies. The final act came in 1453. The Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II, a brilliant and ambitious young ruler, arrived at the walls of Constantinople with a massive army and a new, terrifying weapon, giant cannons that could smash stone walls to rubble. The last Byzantine emperor, Constantine XI Palaiologos, had only a few thousand defenders against an army of nearly 100,000. The siege lasted for 53 days. The defenders fought with incredible bravery, but the outcome was inevitable. On May 29, 1453, the Ottoman forces broke through the walls. The last Roman emperor died fighting on the ramparts, a Romang to the very end. The city fell, and the great church of Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque. The Romang Empire, in all its forms, was finally over. But was it? Rome never truly died. Its language, Latin, evolved into French, Spanish, and Italian. Its laws underpin Western justice. Its architectural principles, the arch, the dome, the aqueduct, can be seen all over the world. The Catholic Church, based in Rome, became the dominant spiritual and political force in medieval Europe. The idea of Rome, the dream of a universal civilized empire, would inspire rulers for centuries to come, from Charlemagne to Napoleon. The fall of Rome wasn't an end. It was a transformation, the long, painful birth of the modern world. The empire is gone, but we are all still living in its shadow. Subscribe to uncover more stories history tried to hide.